rock stars, we're getting close to the most wonderful time of the year. Christmas is the best time to build and sell projects. Well, how do I know what projects are popular or which projects will sell? Well, that's where I come in. I'm Daniel with Bearded Viking Woodworks. Welcome to the shop. I've tested the markets locally and 5 years ago started selling my items online. And I've had ups and I've also had downs. Today, I'm going to be showing you badass projects that you can get built for low cost, high profit. Today's video is sponsored by Everybody. What a shot. The first project for today's video, you're going to need a 3-inch hole saw bit, or you can get a 3-inch Forstner bit. I don't have either, so I'm going to head up to Lowe's and grab a 3-inch hole saw bit. They sell the hole saw bit with the shaft. No, not that shaft. Or they sell a replacement bit if you already have a shaft, and that way you can save about $5. Next, I want to grab some stain, and Lowe's has a pretty good variety of stain, and I'm wanting a darker color. So I'm sort of up in the air about true black or this espresso. We're going to go with the espresso. Now that I've got the stain, we're going to head to the lumber section, and I'm going to get some knotty pine.
He's on the naughty list.
No! I don't want that pine select. That stuff's outrageously expensive. It's literally almost twice the amount of the regular pine. We'll get loaded up and head on back to the shop. Yeah, don't mind this guy. Our first project is going to be a modern 3-tier wine storage display. Okay, so first order of business, we're going to get this thing measured out, and I'm going to cut 3 pieces at 32 inches. This is an 8-foot piece, and we'll be able to get all 3 out of this one board. For each of those pieces that we cut 32, we're going to cut 2 out of each at 10 inches. And we'll use a stop block to get consecutive cuts. We need to go ahead and get all of our stock ripped down to 5 inches. The reason we're ripping it now is it's a little bit easier than ripping the whole 8-foot piece. For the 3 pieces that were left over after cutting the 10-inch pieces, we're going to take and cut those down to 4 inches. For our next step, we're going to mark center of all of our 4-inch pieces. You can do this with a straight edge or a speed square. We'll just line up our straight edge with both opposite corners and mark right at the center. We'll go ahead and get those holes punched. Okay, so to swap out our shaft, they have a flathead little key bolt right here on the side. You just loosen that up and you'll be able to pop your center drill bit out. For this piece, the actual shaft, we'll just take some channel locks and unscrew it. Just screw that off of there and swap them out. Just like that. Now let's take these on over to our vise and get these holes drilled out, shall we? The key to getting a nice clean hole saw hole is to take your time and hold this thing absolutely level. Now for our other 3 pieces, we're going to do a 1-inch hole, but we're only going to go about a 1/2 inch in depth. We'll take our 10-inch pieces that we cut earlier, and what we're going to do is make a slight rabbet on our 10-inch pieces, or as my fellow friends across the water like to call, a rebate. It's debatable. It's very important that we pay attention to the cups of our boards. We want our cups facing each other. You want your grains that look like a cup to be inward facing. We're going to be coming in from the inside a 1/4 inch, and our depth is obviously going to be 3/4. Now we just need to set our depth of our saw blade down to a 1/4 inch, adjust our fence, and cut that rabbet off. I'm using a spacer between my fence and my saw blade because I don't want any kickback to happen cutting this rabbet loose. Before we assemble everything, I got to get everything cleaned up, and these pesky stickers can be a pain, but a heat gun makes quick work of getting rid of those. I'll get everything sanded down to 150 grit, blow off the dust, and we're going to get these things pre-stained before assembly. I'll tape up all the areas that are going to be glued, that way I don't get any stain in them. We're going to get all of our pieces stained except for the outsides of our 10-inch pieces, and I'll show you why here in just a second. We'll get a nice heavy coat on everything and then wipe the excess with a paper towel, and this really brings it to life. Now, a standard typical wine bottle is about 3 inches in diameter. Mine, however, that my wife has are 2 7/8. That's why I used a 3-inch bit. So double check the dimensions of the wine bottles you'll be using, or if you're just building them to sell, use a bigger bit, about 3 1/4 or 3 1/2 inch bit. All right, so now that all these pieces are dry, we're gonna go ahead and get these things put together. And if you know the song, go and sing along. Add a dab of glue, 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 add a dab of glue. And we gonna pop a Brad in his ass. Speaking of Papa Brad in his ass, be sure you go and check out the new merch in the merch shop today. Now there's a number of ways that you can get your angle set. You can take a speed square, for instance, and just set your first one on that speed square, and that would be half of your 10 inches. So we would pull down 5 inches and make a mark and glue these together at that mark. I actually like that look right there, so that's what we're gonna go with. So we'll pull down 5 inches and make a very light mark because we don't want our pencil to get blended with our stain. We'll add a dab of glue right below that mark. And we'll take our second piece and set it right on those marks. And give it a little rub joint back and forth. Make sure you're flush to your outside. And we're gonna pop a Brad in his ass. We're just gonna pop 2 Brads in it, one on the front and then one on the back. That way it holds it steady while it dries. And then we'll do the same thing with our third piece. We'll pull down 5 inches. We'll add a dab of glue and pop a Brad in his ass. And we'll go ahead and finish our unstained areas. Wipe off our excess. That is brilliant. Now let's talk about the profit aspect of this piece. If you look here, they typically range anywhere from $90 to upwards of $120. We were able to get all the pieces for this build out of that one 1x6 that cost $10 and some change. I used maybe 75 cents worth of stain, and I built this in under 10 minutes. These things are so quick and easy to build, and the profit margin is that good that I would feel comfortable pricing this one at around 55, maybe 65 bucks and still turn a big ass profit. Our next project is just as easy. Damn chickens, man. But it's 3 times the profit. Excuse those chickens, please. I'm recording here. Oh, well, he told me to tell y'all to like and subscribe. Our next project for this video is going to be this rustic lamp or pendant. And again, we're going to be building it out of 1x6. First thing, we're going to get 2 of these pieces cut to 11 inches. We're going to take and get these 2 sandwiched together and glued up. So remember, when you're picking out your 1x6, you want to make sure you got the flattest board you can find. Unless you have a joiner and a planer, then you can just flatten it yourself. We'll make sure to get good coverage with our glue, and I'm using some Quick and Thick. We'll get it spread out evenly, and then we'll get as many clamps on this piece as possible. While our glue up dries, we're going to go ahead and take the rest of that 1x6 and cut 4 pieces to 7 inches. Once we get those 4 cut, we'll then take them to our table saw and get 16 pieces ripped to 1 inch out of those 4 pieces. Now, once you get all of those pieces cut, we're going to be putting a 45-degree bevel on all the pieces at both ends. We'll set up a stop block. That way we can make consecutive cuts and batch these out fairly quick. And here's a little tip to get better bevel cuts. I put my saw on a 45.3. All right, once you're done making a shit ton of sawdust, we're going to go ahead and take our glue up out of the clamps and rip these into 1-inch pieces. Once we get those all ripped, we're going to take and rip them one more time to 1 inch. So we have some 1 inch by 1 inch pieces, making 4 all together. What I really like about these projects is it doesn't matter the skill level of woodworker that you are. I mean, let's be honest, sometimes we just need to make a few bucks, and these projects are easy enough and you can get them built quick enough to where you can make a generous profit for the holidays. We're going to set those pieces to the side and let them get dry. While those are drying, we're going to take those pieces that we cut 7 inches long to long, and I got to get them ripped down to 3/8 of an inch from that long point. It's something that I should have took care of earlier, however, I forgot. No excuses. We're going to go ahead and get them ripped down right here at the bandsaw, and I'll meet you back over at the bench. We're going to take 8 of the pieces that we just ripped, and I'm going to get 2 frames glued together. We'll add a dab of glue, 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 add a dab of glue. I've got a ton of gravel in my shoe, girl on my shoulder, heart full of blues out in the dirt, down in the dirt. Another little quick pro tip for you. Your table saw top is at a 90. So just line up this edge and this edge with your tabletop and your pieces should come out square. Alright, well it's been about 30 minutes, so I'm sure that these are plenty dry enough. So what we're going to do is nail our top and our bottom on first. I want my top to be set to where it's an inch below the very top. So what I'm going to do is keep them set just like this, because these are both 1 inch in width. And I'll take my legs and nail this top piece onto my legs, and then that will give me my 1 inch that I'm looking for. I'm using 1 inch brad nails to nail these off. Alright, and once we get that top nailed, we'll just slip the bottom out, flip it over, set the bottom in place, and pop a brad in his ass. Now we're going to nail our other pieces onto our lamp. So I'll use one of the pieces for a spacer, and what I'll do here is just take my right side and make sure that I'm right where I need to be and pop a brad in his ass. We'll flip it and do the same thing. And continue to work myself around. And we'll do those same steps with our bottom. Now I just need a spot to mount my light. I ordered this off of Amazon, and I'll leave a link for it down in the description. To get this mounted, I'm going to be using another piece of 1x6. It's not going to fill the whole top, but that's really not necessary. You could do that if you'd like, but I'm just going to get this ripped down to fit right in between the two legs, and then I'll show you how we're going to fasten it. So I'll measure in between my two legs, and I've got 4 3/8, and my length will be 6 1/2. That is a perfect fit. All right, so we'll mark center of our piece here. Punch that hole. I'll unscrew my fastener here, and I need to drill that hole at 1 1/2 inches. Meet me at the drill press. Alright, so I went ahead and slapped some stain on my top piece here, and we're going to go ahead and get this installed, and we'll add a dab of glue and get this installed, and we're going to pop a brad in his ass. We'll grab our hardware and we'll get it twisted on. You just want to hand tighten it. And there we go. Let's talk about the profit aspect of a piece like this. Check out what they're getting for these. That, my friends, is what I like to call a big ass profit. You can get 3 of these shades out of one of those 1x6x8s. I'm still undecided on if I'm going to leave the strips here plain. I might go ahead and just stain those as well. I think it's just a little too much of a difference, but all around a great project. And I think 135 bucks for one of these is right up my alley. I'll link down in the description where you can get the light bulbs for these too. I wish I was more of an electrician because I'd actually demonstrate it for y'all, but yeah, no luck for me. All right, rock stars, we're already like 20 minutes in, so no time for the third project. I'll just carry that over to the next video. But I really hope y'all enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed creating the video. Until next time, get in your shop and make some sawdust. Skull.